How are we doing tonight? Everybody's dry, didn't get caught in the rain? You got some cheese and some fruit, everyone's feeling good? Perfect. All right, well, my name is Esther McIlvain. I am the current secretary for the Zoo's Board of Trustees, and I am here today to call the Central Florida Zoo and Botanical Garden annual meeting to order, but more importantly, I am here to thank all of you for taking the time to come to our annual meeting today. We have a lot of really exciting and important things to share with you. As the zoo's governing body, the Board of Trustees are dedicated to providing support and strategic guidance to the amazing team here at the zoo. The board also executes a fiduciary responsibility to ensure the zoo is operating in a fiscally sound and responsible manner. As trustees, we care very, very, very deeply about all aspects of the zoo, from the team members to the animals, and we take our responsibilities very seriously. So right now, I would like all of my fellow Board of Trustee members to stand. We've got a full squad here, and I'd just like to thank all of you for all of the time and energy and support that you put into making the zoo a success as well. Every year, our board embarks on a retreat to another zoo or conservation organization to really get a feel for how they operate, to share best practices between their leadership and our leadership, and to ask any questions that may help us improve our beloved zoo. This year, we visited Zoo Tampa, and we got an up-close and personal look at their manatee conservation efforts and far beyond. It was an incredible trip that we had a great time on, and we learned a lot of really fantastic best practices. As a result of these retreats, these discussions, and these visits over the course of the year, one of the things we've really focused on as a board, especially over the last 2 to 3 years, is the intentional transition from an operational board to a more strategic and supporting board. We really want to make sure we're being a strategic partner to the zoo versus an operational partner. We have a really, really incredible leadership team at this zoo, as you all know, and we have a really incredible staff and a full team. We want to leave it up to the experts. We really want to make sure that we are just focusing on strategic guidance, financial oversight, and some assistance with important things like fundraising. We have made numerous strides over the last year and a half in this transitional journey, including updating our bylaws and streamlining our committee structure to better reflect the zoo's current needs. And now I have the honor of introducing the zoo's CEO, Richard Glover.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Hopefully you will enjoy hearing more about what we've done over the last fiscal year and be proud of the work that we're doing. So there's no way to start talking about the last fiscal year without really starting at Hurricane Ian. So for this zoo, Hurricane Ian had a major impact. We were closed for 28 days. That was 10 days longer than any other zoo or aquarium in Florida. A lot of it was due to the flooding that happened after the actual storm. The floodwater from Sanford comes down to our property and comes back towards Lake Monroe. And we ended up with the only road in and out to the zoo flooded and underwater for almost 3.5 weeks. And when I say flooded and underwater, it was 2.5 feet underwater. So it was a real challenge getting in and out. We obviously couldn't be open to the public during that time. So it was a difficult time. You can see some of the damage. There's no way to really explain what that front road was like and what the property was like without showing some video. So I'm going to show y'all a little bit of what, for a few days, we took one of our lulls and we put a metal box on it, and the staff that was coming in had to ride in and out on this 4 at a time. It took us 2 hours a day each way to get people in and out those days. Eventually, we were able to work a deal with Sunrail and with the county to be able to cross at the Sunrail station with our team, so we didn't have to do that. But this will give you an idea of what our ride in and out was like on those days. So all of that is normally road. Needless to say, we found some alligators we weren't expecting different places during this time. You can see our rainforest pavilion right there that you'll see as you drive in on the right-hand side. And the opening we're coming out to right here is right by where our normal retention pond is, right in front of the train station and right near our main parking lot. And it was just a giant lake. So that's what it actually was like for a month here. So we worked really hard to try to come back from that. It was, damage-wise, across the zoo, between wind damage, things from the actual storm, and then the flooding damage, we had over $400,000 in actual damage to the property. In addition to that being closed 28 days, the cost to feed the animals, take care of them, pay the staff, run the utilities, another over $500,000. So overall, well over $900,000 in losses due to Hurricane Ian. We were very fortunate because Seminole County was a great partner to us throughout the hurricane, throughout the time that we were closed, helping us to get Sunrail to let us cross there to get in and out. And they also came and did a video for us to help kickstart our fundraising efforts to try to get some money back to deal with all the damages and all the loss. So this is the video that they made for us. This helped us kickstart our campaigns that raised over $300,000 in hurricane relief for us to do the largest part of the repairs we needed to do.
Harvey! Hello.
Hey, big guy. I know.
Good. Everyone's back and home and ready for guests to come back.
The animals at Central Florida Zoo haven't seen any visitors since the day before Hurricane Ian hit on September 28th. The zoo still closed to the public as the front entrance is impassable. Cars flooded with standing water. Crews having to park off-site before being escorted safely across railroad tracks by a roadway worker to get to their animals.
We do have a very, very dedicated staff, and we are still giving them the same type of welfare that we would give them even if it wasn't during this type of situation.
No matter what's going on in the world, we got keepers here.
The damage is beyond just the standing water in the front entrance. The Discovery Center, with the educational classrooms and event space, flooded as well during the storm.
This building ended up about 2 to 3 inches deep in water. So this line you see right here is where they will cut for the drywall.
And vegetative debris that fell during the storm is being piled up, with damage to the ropes course and giraffe feeding experience as well.
So you'll see this shade sail. This was damaged and came down, it's torn. That will have to be replaced. So you can see the giraffes are in their back area right now with their barn, and that's where they will have to stay until these repairs are done.
And the zoo is not only having to calculate the cost to repair the damage, it's estimated that they are losing over $30,000 a day every day it is closed to the public. All while the animals rely solely on their keepers for the interaction they crave.
They kind of just see us every day and they're like, you again. We don't want to see you anymore. We want to see new people, fresh faces, and kind of get that other socialization.
Big guy here has been here 41 years, and he's used to people.
These guys especially, they come running when they see guests. They know they're going to get fed. They know they're going to get lots of love and scratches and attention.
So we're obviously very appreciative of Seminole County and their support that they provide us at times like that. It's amazing to be here and see what the staff does, the dedication, the passion they have. I mean, so many of them were dealing with issues with their own homes and their own families. And the first thing they wanted to do was know, when can I get back on site? And, we have a ride-out team that stays throughout storms like that here on property to make sure everything is okay. So just the dedication from the staff is really something to be proud of. As a person that's leading this team, just to see that is so inspiring, and it's so easy to be excited every day to come here and support a team like this. It's amazing to see the work they do. Just a few facts and figures from the year. So because we were closed, it did impact attendance. We closed for 28 days. We ended the year with a little over 408,000 people, which we felt really good about considering if you took out that 28 days, if we had have had them, we were only down 7% compared to last year. Last year was the highest attendance this zoo has ever had. So we feel like had we not been closed, we probably would have had another record this year. Financials wise, this is one place that I'm really proud of what the whole team did. We projected the budget at the start of the year that we'd have a surplus of $690,000. We lost almost $1 million from Hurricane Ian, and we really, started watching all of our expenses as close as we could. We tried to do everything we could to try to get ourselves back righted. The fundraising, all the gifts from many of you in this room that helped us get back on our feet. But we ended the year with a surplus of $1.4 million, which, I can't say enough about the team and everything they did to make sure we ended this year on a positive note, given all the challenges we had. And from that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris George, our Director of Animal Operations.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Okay. Yeah.
Nope. All right, so I just wanted to highlight some of the animal rescues that we experienced over the last year. So in the middle of Hurricane Ian and all of the recovery and trying to get staff in every day, we did help out one of our fellow conservation organizations in Florida, Crow. They are from, I believe, Sarasota, and their rehab center was demolished by Ian. So they called up one of our veterinarians, Dr. Mason, and we were able to work out a deal where we were able to rescue 2 of their animals that they had in their volunteers' homes, living in their bathtubs and bathrooms. So one is Billy. Billy is now an ambassador animal, living over at Zoo Lab, also with Pumpernickel, the possum. So we were involved in so much stuff here, trying to, get all of our stuff in order, but it was still nice to be able to reach out and help another organization. We do partner with a lot of organizations around the country. So Florida Wildlife Commission, AZA, other organizations. So we get calls all of the time for confiscated animals. Sometimes it's baby tarantulas. So we were able on 3 separate occasions to take in these animals that were being smuggled into the country, mostly for the pet trade. And these tarantulas, some of them when they got here, they were about the half the size of a Tic Tac. Super tiny, super easy to smuggle. People don't look into your bags, things of that nature. So these are the guys that are lucky. These are the ones that we were able to take in. We have experts on the team that know how to take care of arachnids really well, and they're actually right behind the bug zoo right now, right next door. So that's another one of our success stories. Also, through Florida Wildlife Commission, we were able to rescue some of the snakes that were involved in a sting operation that took about 2 years, and it was to catch the people that were funding the black market with venomous animals, venomous snakes. So through our connection with FWC, we were able to bring in these 4 animals that were part of that sting operation, which I think resulted in about 20 people being arrested. So we have these animals in the herpetarium right now. All of them are on display except for the Egyptian cobra. We already have an Egyptian cobra, and she's on display and doing well. And the Egyptian cobra we got, all of them are from the wild. She is very much a cobra, and that's why she's hooding in that picture right there. She's up, she's aggressive, she's mad. So she's gonna have to learn how to deal with all of the traffic in the herpetarium. So when she does go on display, it'll be a gradual process so that she gets used to humans being by her all the time, so she's not hooding like that. And then we have some primates. So you might remember last year we rescued 3 baby spider monkeys. Well, a similar call happened this year for Ollie, a baby spider monkey. He was confiscated in California. He was going to be part of the pet trade. And again, if you remember, if you see a baby monkey, that means it was pulled from the wild, and most likely the troop was killed along with the mom in order to get that infant. So we don't know much about Ollie's past. There's still an investigation going on, but we do know he's from the wild, and most likely his family died so that he can try to be a pet. So he recently, 7 days ago, was introduced to the spider monkeys that are on exhibit. So now he has his forever family, and he fits in really well with the other 3 youngsters. He learned how to play tag right away. So yeah, told you I was gonna get emotional. And then Squirrel Monkey Zeus. So squirrel monkeys are a newer primate for us. He is also an animal that was rescued out of a pet situation. And we do have 2 other squirrel monkeys, and Zeus and the squirrel monkeys are behind the FUSA exhibit right now, getting to know each other, figuring out their troop dynamics, and then once their dynamics are all figured out and all the dynamics for the spider monkeys are figured out, we'll move them to spider monkey and we'll have a really cool, dynamic South American primate exhibit. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and I'm really honored to be here to represent our education department tonight and the zoo. And as you all know, there's nothing I love better than to talk about the zoo, and and so I'm honored to be here and be part of it. So this zoo is where our mission is to create connections that inspire people to take action for wildlife. And we've had an exciting year, and we are so looking forward to the year ahead, and we can't wait for you all to be part of it. And something that not everyone realizes how big our education department is and how much we do here every day on a daily basis. It's incredible. The team of people, I only wish they were standing here with me so that you could see them. A lot of our volunteers are in the audience tonight, and actually one of our zoo teachers is here tonight as well. Miss Rhea is here tonight. So we're so proud of our team. They do incredible work. But if you look at the list behind me, I mean, every single day here, we have our, kindergarten through 5th grade programs going on. They're curriculum-based programs. Teachers love us. Schools come from all 4 surrounding counties to be here and be part of our programs. Our motto is where the classroom comes to life, and that's exactly what we're working to inspire and to create. We have over 40 different species of animals in our education department that we're able to bring right into the classroom and out into the community, so people have those up-close experiences where they learn to care and really appreciate the animals. We also have lots of great community partnerships that are going on. We recognize our strengths. We're a team. We are an AZA zoo that recognizes the great partnerships that we have with our local community, and we build on those strengths. We have, in addition to all of our school programs that we have here, outreaches, animal encounters, tours of the zoo, constantly going on. We have our homeschool programs. We've had partnerships with the homeschool community for over 20 years. We have homeschool zoo venture classes where individual students can participate, or the homeschool family workshops where children of all ages and their families can participate together. And not only that, but from September to May each year, we have different classes each month, and every year we offer new classes as well. So it's not like they come to the zoo and they've done our zoo class and they're done. No, in fact, they start at age 5 here and continue on until they are 17 years old. We have programs to offer them. It's an exciting opportunity for them to grow, to know the zoo, to be involved in hands-on science. They get incredible opportunities here that you're just not going to find anywhere else. Spring and summer programs. So if you take a look at our little guys right up here, we just brought back our Cub Club program this summer. It really warms my heart. It was something that we couldn't do during COVID. So this summer, we were able to bring it back. In fact, Rhea is our Cub Club teacher. And it's for children ages 2 to 5 to participate along with their parents and grandparents. And it is just an incredible experience. As you can see, these little guys here are actually meeting our Everglades rat snake up close. You'll take a look at our summer camp picture here. We do a Wild Kingdom Quest. We have over 30 different summer camp programs that kids can choose from to be involved with. In this one, they're actually making a conservation commitment, and they've just been knighted and have made a promise to care for the planet for forever. And the picture up here in the corner, that's actually my grandson. He's pretty cute. and our zoo teacher, Crystal, where he's getting that opportunity to be part of our summer camp program and to have that really cool experience meeting a ball python up close. Our special event programs, the night hikes at the zoo, kids night out, wild zoo art, story time, talking about getting the preschoolers out here, photography workshops, scout programs, and overnights. There is something for everyone here. We believe so strongly in building our connection with the community because not only do we want people to love the animals and to visit the zoo, but we want them to care and empower them to act on behalf of wildlife. And when we create opportunities like that, that's exactly what happens. They come here, they go to, camp here, they grow up, and I tell you, I've been here a long time, so now the kids that I used to teach, they now bring their children to zoo camp, and that's incredible. It is generational. It continues on and on. From last year, this number has increased by 11,000. So not only has our reach expanded, and that's after being closed for a whole month where schools were unable to attend, we are literally bursting at the seams in our education department. So thank you to the board for approving our increase in staff because we desperately need it. Ray is nodding. Yeah, we need a lot going on. But so many of these programs, and what's behind these programs are the stories. One after another after another. I can't tell you the number of emails we get every single day, just parents thanking us, schools thanking us, teachers thanking us for the work that we do here and connecting them. We had one mom who just sent an email because her little boy, who she has a hard time getting out of bed in the morning, bounced out of bed before her alarm went off every morning for summer camp because he couldn't wait to be here. And she sent us the best picture, this giant smile that he had. It was incredible. The story of one of our summer campers who, when she was little, tragically had lost the sight in one of her eyes, and she's very self-conscious about it. And when she was 6, her mom called and said, we can't get her out. She's not really talking to people very much and everything, but the one thing we know is she loves animals. What do you got? And I said, we would love to have her right here. And that young lady went on to attend her very first summer camp here. She came back every year until she became a teen teamer. Then she became a docent. She graduated top of her class in high school, went on to receive a full scholarship to Boston College. She's currently in Japan because she's finished her master's degree and is now traveling the world. And that started right here with a little girl that loved animals, surrounded by zoo teachers who loved and cared about her, and went on to be part of this incredible program. One little girl, I like to say we were inclusive before inclusive was a word, because we are so welcoming here, and we love for the children, for the adults, and everyone to find their way and to be part of what we have to offer. It's why we do so much, and we won't stop. We're always looking for new ideas. But one young lady, she had sensory issues, and it was difficult for her to be here. So her very first week of camp, she spent a lot of time under the table. So every time things would get overwhelming, she'd disappear under the table. But the zoo teachers just rolled with her. They're like, okay, when you're ready, come on back up. And so as the week went by, gradually she was at that table more and more and more, until finally by the end of the week, she was really participating. I have to tell you, by the second week she was here, it was almost more than I could stand. When I walked in the classroom one day, she wasn't under the table anymore. She was dancing and laughing and playing in the classroom right along with all those other children, because she had found a safe place, just a great place to be. And it's, kudos to the staff who really pay attention to those children, to know where their needs are and what we can do to help them, and to make sure that everyone always, always, always feels welcome here. My 3 grandsons are amazing kids, of course. The oldest, Donovan, he's 12, going to be 13. He can't wait to join the teen team. He knows everything about animals. Vincent, the 7-year-old, he likes animals and everything. What he really loves is the zoo, because he loves all the people here, and they are incredible. I will tell you, the staff that's here at the zoo, it takes a village, from David and PA to, our security team to whoever it might be. He loves them all, and he is crazy about them. And the little one, Elliot, he's 5, and he's autistic. So when he comes here, his very favorite thing to do is Zubu Bash. So if you've never done Zubu Bash, you need to do it. But he loves the playground, he loves the socializing, he loves seeing the animals and everything. But what makes it so incredible is that every one of them has a place here. Just like you all have a place here. The adults, the community, and being part of it, we all have a place here. So I'll wrap up by saying, I came in to do an interview with a young lady for the docent program, and she just had this giant smile on her face. And so I was the one going to interview her. See, our docent is our volunteer teacher program. And I'm like, come on back. And I don't think her feet touched the floor as we walked across the insect zoo. And we get in there, sit down. I'm like, so what brings you here? Why would you like to be a docent? And she said, I have to tell you, I came to summer camp here. And she said, I was struggling in school. I was having such a hard time. I was having difficulty with my reading, and it was so hard. She's like, but when I came to summer camp here and I began to learn about the animals and I wanted to know more, she said, it motivated me. So I started going to the library and I was practicing my reading and, just getting better and better. And then I guess our zoo teachers came and did an outreach for that library one day, and she was super motivated then to really be involved. And she said, now she's in college. And she said, I'm here because I want to give back. I want to give back to the organization that supported me and changed my life and made such a difference. So what I said to the zoo teachers was, you matter. What I would say to you is, you matter. Being here, supporting the zoo is incredible. The things that we have the ability to do here are incredible. From the children, the adults, the grandparent programs, and everything that we do here, we all have an opportunity to be part of that. I can't thank you enough. I can't thank our team enough. And I just want to say that together we can accomplish anything. So thank you for being here and supporting our zoo. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Bowden.
Hi. Apologize, I'm just getting over a respiratory infection, so if my voice may cut in and out, it's not on purpose. I'm the Chief Veterinary Officer for the zoo. I'm also the Director for the zoo's Orion Center for Indigo Conservation, and if you're not aware of what that is our off-site program where we focus on the conservation efforts of a couple of the local imperiled species of reptiles and amphibians for the southeastern United States, predominantly in Florida. Let's see which button here. Uh-oh. There we go. So we focus mainly on the eastern indigo snake, and we currently have actually 234 eastern indigo snakes right now. Since this slide was made, we've had a couple more hatch, and so our population is growing. And we have 137 striped newts, adorable little monsters. So this past breeding season, we've paired, we'll have to read off here, 135 attempts to breed our snakes. These snakes are unique individuals. They are snake-eating snakes, and those of you that are like, ooh, snakes, well, their favorite snake like to eat is rattlesnakes and copperheads, so they're the good guys if you're thinking along those lines. But because they eat other snakes, we can't keep them together. And when we're breeding them, it has to be a chaperoned event because we can't put two together and we'll end up having fewer snakes than when we started with. So, but anyways, it took over 270 personnel hours to get our 28 different females bred. Only 22 of those 28 actually laid eggs, and not all those eggs are viable. We did have a total of 181 eggs. As of this morning, there's 98 hatchlings, and we currently have 31 eggs still incubating, and one of those eggs additionally pipped, which means the baby's trying to get out right now. So this is a record clutch year for us, and so we're very happy about that. Our striped newts, we've got 2 boys and 3 girls, and they are putting the bunnies to shame because they've made 475 offspring that we've released earlier this year. We still have 113 that weren't quite old enough to be released, so we're holding on to them to the following year. So to date, we've got over 1,800 striped newts that we've repopulated into the Apalachicola forest where they've been almost decimated. Our eastern indigo snakes, again, in the regions where they used to be proliferative, they've not been seen in quite a while. So in Alabama, we haven't seen eastern indigo snakes there since the 1950s, and the copperhead population was just booming, in that part of Alabama. We've been releasing there for about 10 years now, and copperhead population is much more in line to what it should be, and the locals are much happy with that. But we've released 19 2-year-old indigo snakes in the Florida Panhandle this past year, and 17 up in Appalachia, or up in the Connecticut National Forest up in Alabama. So that gives us 126 so far in Florida and 156 in Alabama. We've got 30 additional snakes for each location that are being head started at different partner facilities. So this coming spring, we're going to add 30 more to each site. So one of the problems we see in eastern indigo snakes is dystocia, which is a fancy word for egg binding, or the babies don't want to come out, or the eggs won't. They get stuck. They won't come out, and we usually have to do a C-section and get those removed. And it's a 30% prevalence, so 1 out of every 3 snakes it'll happen to. And our current belief is that it has to do with diet and exercise. And these snakes are very big and strong snakes, and if you ever hold one, you're like, wow, they're really strong. But then you hold a snake that's in the wild, the exact same size, you're like, oh, that's really strong. So, they're housed in large outdoor enclosures, but, they've got corners, and, they'll move and stop, move and stop. And in the wild, there'll be hundreds of acres that they'll travel. And also the food that they eat in the wild is mostly snakes, which is very lean, a lot of bone, a lot of non-digestible material, high in protein, low in fat. Well, that's not very convenient for us to feed them. We got over 200 snakes, and if you're going to feed them twice a week, you have to have a whole bunch of other snakes to try to feed them. So, they eat thawed frozen rodents, which are common in the pet trade. But that's really high in fat. Basically, they're eating cheeseburgers and sitting on the couch. And so I think that's probably part of the problem they're having with getting their eggs getting stuck. So one thing we're trying to do to fix that is we've got these round pens being built. So if the outdoor pen doesn't have a corner, they'll be moving more. And we've done some beta trials with that already, and we do see increased activity in a round pen. So we are in the process of constructing some round enclosures. We have some research going on with some partners we have at the West Liberty University. That's from West Virginia. We are working on doing a little sausage-based diet where we're constructing the nutrient profile to mimic what they would eat in the wild. So we take great care of our indigos. They're going to have these nice little fancy yurts and eat artisan sausages and just be great. One of the other topics here, I'll just have show a little video and then I'll be done. This is Michelle. She's one of our field biologists, and she's going to talk about the actual release program and what's going on in the wild. So take a few minutes here.
My name is Michelle Hoffman. I'm a field biologist for the Central Florida Zoo's Orion Center for Indigo Conservation. We are here in South Alabama in one of the national forests, releasing 17 eastern indigo snakes onto the forest as part of our reintroduction project. Eastern indigo snakes have been in decline for many years due to habitat destruction, loss of environment, loss of ecosystems such as the longleaf pine ecosystem. So we are working to reestablish eastern indigo snake populations in areas where they've been considered extirpated for many years, meaning that they haven't been found in these locations. So we are working to bring eastern indigo snakes back onto the landscape because they help to control populations of a lot of other species in the area. This area has been managed by the U.S. Forest Service and is burned regularly in order to maintain a suitable habitat for gopher tortoises, eastern indigo snakes, and other imperiled species. The snakes were bred, hatched out, and raised for 1 year at the Central Florida Zoo's Orion Center for Indigo Conservation. At 1 year old, they were transferred to Zoo Atlanta, where they were head started for an additional year before they were released here in the National Forest.
So, this is the most successful eastern indigo snake project in operation at the moment. We believe that we are going to be able to accomplish our goal, which is to have re-established a viable population of the eastern indigo snake into Alabama.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so now I'd like to just kind of review some of the Species Survival Plan SSP recommended breedings in our collection from AZA. So our Amur leopards. So we have our 2 Amur leopards. They are off habitat right now in their back area. Our female, G-Land, she goes into estrus about every 6 to 7 weeks. They are housed next to each other. Unfortunately, they're not speaking each other's language. So when she's in estrus, most of the time he is indifferent. And when she's not in estrus, he's really interested. So they're separate. We don't ever house them together just because they are large carnivores. They would be solitary in the wild. So we are trying our best to get them acclimated to each other, and we're constantly monitoring their behaviors to track her cycle and his interest in her. Last week she went into estrus. Again, he was disinterested. So in another 4 to 5 weeks, we'll go and we'll see what happens then. But we're trying. We're trying real hard with these guys. Our hedgehog tenrix, which are ambassador animals, it's also another SSP recommended breeding. Again, hit and a miss with these guys. We've put them together during their breeding season earlier this spring. We did see a lot of breeding, but she never did conceive. This is our second cycle with them, our second year with them. We will try again next year. Our Fusa. So again, another recommended breeding. Our male is rather young. Our female is 9+ years old, and she's never reproduced before. We did contact the Fusa SSP, and most likely we will have to do a swap of females at some point in the future, where we will get a younger female, and then our female Shelby, she would go to another institution and just be an exhibit animal. She loves living by herself. You see her all the time with her belly up in the air. So she's put herself on retirement. And then we have real good hope for these guys. So these are our blue diker. You can find them in the wreathed hornbill exhibit. They are 2 young individuals, a little over a year old. They came to us from the Dallas Zoo, and they are our first antelope species here in about 20 years or so. They're very, very small. If you haven't seen them, they're smaller than a house cat. So within the first week, we did see breeding behaviors with these guys. We don't know if she has conceived, but their gestation period is about 6 months or so, which would put us in December or so for calves. We are right now getting them trained to go on a scale so that we can monitor any weight change. But when they do give birth, the calf is about 800 grams, so rather very small. So these are the guys that I hope to get to tell you next year that we had a successful birth in a calf. We also have some of our reptiles, so our leaf-tailed geckos. We have had some eggs, but none of them were viable. And then right outside this door, when you leave here to the left, we have our Loki and Freya, our prehensile-tailed skinks. What's cool about them is that she would give live birth to an individual. They don't lay eggs. And they've been together. We haven't seen any breeding behaviors, but if she were to have a pup, it would be about September or so. And that's that for our breeding.
They get all the fun animal stuff. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the new experiences we've had here at the zoo. And to lead into that, one of the things that's really important for the team here is we really believe we want the zoo to be a place everyone feels welcome, everyone feels safe. So we really did some work this year looking at our DEIA practices, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, and trying to really expand that through what we do, both as a staff internally and with our guests. And so we took a look at some of the things we haven't been doing, and one of the things we instituted this year was on some of our big event days, we've added the opportunity for families with people with sensory needs to come in early and have quieter hours in where we don't have the splash pad on, we don't have music on, things like that, to give them a little head start to be able to enjoy the zoo without some of the stimuli that might be a problem for them. So that was one new thing we've done this year. The other really bigger one we've done this year is we've really morphed our Sunset at the Zoo program. So every 4th Friday from May through September, we have Sunset at the Zoo, and people can come in, and it's always been a program that was meant to be an accessibility program for the community. So Normally you pay about $24 to come into the zoo if you're an adult. For those nights, it's $8, and if you buy your tickets in advance, it's $6. So that really makes it easier for families that sometimes couldn't come to the zoo to be able to be here. So this year we decided we're going to take those 5 events that already exist, and we're going to theme every one of them. And we're going to theme them all to celebrate a different community. So that's what we did. We've had 3 of them so far. Each one of them have set records for that month for sunsets before, to the point, compared to last year, every one of them has been at least 47% higher in attendance than the one last year at that same time. What we do on those days, we have all the normal zoo things open for people to do. We've got the train, we've got giraffe feeding, barnyard feeding, all the animal exhibits. But we also have keeper talks, and we try to focus on the animals that may, depending on if the culture we're celebrating, if there are animals in those areas that we have, then we try to focus on those. We bring in a DJ that's playing music that's appropriate for whatever we're celebrating. Sometimes we have live musicians, dancers, speakers, but it's really trying to do everything we can to celebrate those cultures. So, we've done 3 so far, and we have seen at this point about 4,000 people in those events, and that is it's more than double what we saw last year in those 3 events. We've got 2 more left. This next Friday, we'll be doing Native American and Alaska Native Heritage Celebration. And then in September, it'll be Hispanic Heritage Celebration. The other thing we're doing is bringing food trucks in, and they're either themed for the culture we're celebrating, or they're themed because the people that own them are from those communities. So really trying to let people know this is a place they're welcome, we care about them. And so that's been a real success, not only for the guests, but for the staff too. It's really been something that the staff has been proud of. I can't tell you how many comments I've had from different staff members come up and just say, what a great event different ones were, and just watching all this diverse group of people just happy to be here and having a good time without anything to worry about. So it's been a really nice addition. It's been well received, and it's something we're definitely going to do again going forward. We've done some post-visit surveys on those, and over half the people that come say that the themes are the primary reason they chose to come. So we know we're starting to reach some audiences that maybe we weren't reaching before, and we hope that they'll feel comfortable to come back and do other things at the zoo. Another thing that we're really excited about, and especially some people in this room have been helpful in making it happen, is we have a train again. So as of the end of May, we relaunched our train, our brand new children's train called Champion. It's modeled after a train that ran between New York and Miami starting in 1939. The train experience was one of the most popular things at the zoo for many years, and we haven't had one for about 4 years. So a lot of excited people to have this back. A lot of families have told me about their families riding the previous train and it being something they'd always done. So we're really excited to have this back, and we're so grateful to our sponsors that helped make this happen. Wharton Smith, 5 Star Credit Union, DNA Building Services, and Thermotane Propane. All without them, we couldn't have done this. And it's so exciting to watch people get on this train and have that experience and go through the wetlands in front of the zoo, and just the smiles on the kids' faces. It's priceless. So we're excited to have that experience back, and we're just we're so grateful because we have this, but there are so many other places. We have partners in this community, and we have donors that have helped us to be able to expand our offerings and to be able to give this community more things to do here. So very thankful for that. And with that, I'm giving it back to Dr. Bogan.
Okay, I'm just going to review a couple things here that focus on animal well-being for our collection. We perform preventive medical exams on all of our animals here at the zoo on a regular basis. We try to hit most of the animals yearly. Some of the animals are every 2 years. And during one of our preventive medical exams, we had seen that one of the male black bear had broken his canine tooth, and the pulp cavity was exposed. There's two main ways to handle that. You can either have the tooth extracted, or you can have a root canal. Extraction of a tooth, on a black bear, that tooth is about that long, and 60% of that is under the gum line. So that is very structural for the integrity of the jaw. So to have that, we could have extracted it, but we want to try to preserve that as best possible. So we reached out to a national group that employs board-certified veterinary dentists as well as human dentists. And they came out, we partnered with them, they came out and performed the root canal for us on our bear. So he now has his tooth is fine, and he's doing great. If it was you or me, we'd be babying that for a while. He was eating his regular food right at the next bat there, so no problems. PJ, our rhinoceros, he injured his eye, probably being silly, playing with one of his big toys or whatever he does, and he got infected. And similar to horses, the infection was actually caused by a fungus. And so he had a fungal infection in his cornea. And that's very difficult to manage. And we had one of the local veterinary ophthalmologists come out, and she volunteered her time and helped us to get a treatment plan together. And this took about 6 months.
Just about, yeah.
Putting medicine in his eye, giving him oral medications. How many of you are able to put drops in your dog's eyes? Can you imagine or your horse's eyes? PJ was a rock star, and I would say 90% or more of his medications actually went in either the oral form or the topical form. So he was a great patient. Which leads me to the partnership we have with the animal team. They do a great job in training all of the animals to allow for voluntary participation in their veterinary care, which greatly helps out the whole process. We have several of our large cats we can draw blood on without any sedation. And that's something we've been doing for years, which is novel. Not all zoos do that. We had an older leopard a few years back that had kidney failure, and part of the monitoring for kidney disease is you need to collect blood samples on a regular basis. Well, if you have a leopard and you have to sedate them with anesthesia, well, if you need to have your kidneys functioning well to metabolize the drugs to wake up from anesthesia. So now if you're having problems with your kidneys and you had to give them a drug, and why don't we just train them to let us get the blood? And we do. And so, even all our younger cats, in between their exams, maybe we're doing our anesthesia exam every other year. Then the in-between years, we can do visual exams where they come over to the side and they may, allow us to look at their eyes through the, we're on the outside, they're on the inside, and we're able to look, still look at their eyes. We can pull their tail through the enclosure, and we can still be on the outside and safely while they're being distracted with their yum treat over there. We can collect a blood sample from their tail and make sure everything's still going on well. PJ is a prime example. The fact that he was trained to allow us to interact with him, be able to put drops in his eyes 2 to 3 times a day for 6 months. It's amazing. And one of the ones that I always find funny is, our red ruff lemur, and actually our mongoose lemurs as well. But a red ruff lemur is a star. She needs birth control because, we don't want to breed her at this point. But at some point we may want to, so we're not doing anything permanent, like, tying her tubes. So we have her birth control injections, and she gets those every 45 days. Well, if you go back to the old days, 80s or 90s, that's the old days, you'd have to, go into the enclosure, chase her around, throw a net over her. There's pee and poo flying everywhere. Everyone's stressed. She's stressed. You're all nervous, stressed. Give her an injection, hurry up and leave, and guess what? We're doing it again in 45 days. She, when it's time for her injection, all right, she has a nice little shelf on the side of her enclosure. She drops right up, puts her butt over to the side. We give her an injection. Here's your little craisin that's like gold, and she's all happy. There's no pee, there's no poop, either from me or from her, and it's just wonderful. So, that's our welfare. Back to you, Dawn.
Oh my goodness, that's too funny. And too true. All righty. Well, our volunteer program, I can't say enough wonderful things about our volunteers here at the zoo, and many of them are here tonight. Would you all take a moment and just stand and be recognized if you wouldn't mind? We'd really love that. You've worked so hard. You deserve it. Thank you. And thank you so much for all you do. It's incredible. AZA did a study many years ago that showed that if you put something as simple as a statue in front of an animal habitat, that people retain 30% more knowledge about that animal than if you just had nothing. So now imagine what it's like when our guests arrive and they get to meet our docents and our zoo interpreters and our teen teamers and our bright futures, and they get to make that engagement. They go home with lots of knowledge and also inspired to make a difference. And that's our real goal. It's not enough to care about the animals. We have to care about them, and we have to match that with action. We have to match it with the choices that we make every day as consumers and what we're doing. And the volunteers are amazing at being able to do that. Our Teen Team program is a great example. Bright Futures, as they're getting their 100 hours to apply to their scholarships, they're putting that time to good use, a time that's making a difference, and it's so wonderful. The Teen Teamers for kids ages 13 to 17 is exciting, and I should mention we are continuing our pre-vet program that I mentioned last year. Courtney Friedman, who is the teacher in charge of that program at Sanford Middle School, those students come here throughout the year and go to zoo school, was selected as a candidate for one of the best teachers in Seminole County this year because she leads that program and she is amazing. So what a great opportunity. I know, go Courtney. And she is terrific. And a lot of her kids go on, she recommends them for being part of the teen team, and they get these great opportunities. They get to engage with the staff, learn about the animals, public speaking skills, you name it. So our adult volunteer programs, this gentleman in the picture is Terry, who's actually our volunteer of the year last year. But we have our docents, zoo interpreters, zoo crew, which is something new here. For folks that are just interested in getting involved during special events like the Asian Lantern Festival, now have that opportunity. Or you can go through training to become a zoo interpreter and help guest feed the giraffes, etc. Animal Nutrition Center, interns, OCIC. We've got lots of great volunteers out there as well. There is something for everyone. So if you'd like to get involved, please let us know. I promise you, we have a spot for you. So the group service volunteers are community partners and corporate groups. This is one of our wonderful volunteers, actually one of our docents here at the zoo, and she is terrific. That's Brojan that she has on her hand, red-fronted macaw, engaging with the guests. And as you can see, they love it. The impact about learning about the rainforest and what we can do to help. And our corporate groups that come out are amazing. I can't say enough good things, and our community partners. For our volunteer opportunities truly are for everyone here. The on-the-job training is something we started several years ago where we're partnering with local organizations who have adults with special needs who want to volunteer and get some on-the-job training. So you might have met some of them out in the zoo as they're working in barnyard and other areas. And our goal is that they will take these experiences and that will translate into new jobs for them. Adults with autism and other special needs, we have volunteer opportunities out here for everyone. We have some of our local groups, again, with children and adults with special needs who come out here and help make enrichments for the animals and get involved in volunteering in all kinds of different ways. And our urban youth programs, which are incredible. We have Boys Town of Central Florida that came out, and we worked with them to create actually a career program for them while they were here. And that was exciting. One of my favorites, although there's a million, Elevate Orlando comes every year, and they're an urban youth program. And what happens is their kids come out here and they volunteer all morning. They are spectacular. They are so great. They can do in 2 hours what it would take our staff 2 weeks to do, and we love them. So they're giving back to us, and it's rewarding for them. And then they stay and enjoy the zoo for the afternoon. So there's so many incredible opportunities for all of our volunteers and getting involved. I sort of hesitate to mention because I don't want to leave anybody off, and the list is long, but I know Publix, of course, and JP Morgan and Orlando Health, and so many different organizations that are coming out and helping us to get these projects done, but helping with projects like ALF and Zubu Bash and other things that are going on. So, of course, I always have to give you some stories. And some special examples of ways that we are able to impact. But I just have a little bit for you tonight. And Maud and Mary, well, we all know the story of OCIC and how the indigo conservation, if you don't, which was that a docent was at a zoo with an eastern indigo snake, and a man and his daughter came up and they began to learn about the indigo snake. And the daughter said to the dad, Dad, do you think we can do something to help? And Dad said, I think we can. And from that conversation with a docent in a zoo was born OCIC. It starts so often with the volunteers and the connection they make with the public, the things that they do, the smiles as they're greeting people when they're coming in, and the people that we're able to touch. But many years ago, when we first had the elephants here at the zoo, there was a special story that I really loved, that when Mary passed away, that she was third oldest elephant in a North American facility, and people came from everywhere to say goodbye to her. They brought photograph albums and stories and everything else. And one of the things that one of the moms had shared with me was that her son and daughter had grown up here at the zoo, visiting it regularly, engaging with the volunteers and everything while they were here. They went on when they grew up. Her daughter is now an environmental lawyer, and their son is a park ranger, both working in Africa to save species. And that started right here with them growing up at our zoo. What an incredible story. But it goes on, and it's a reminder to us about how important it is, our role in education and being part of it. Our former director of education, Sandy Lynn, who inspired the creation of the Discovery Center and Zoo Lab, is getting ready to retire this year. I know it's hard to believe, isn't it? from environmental education. An incredible person who's inspired thousands. It's a reminder to each of us. I had to write it down because I don't want to cry. But it's a reminder to each of us how important it is to invest in the future of our children, because they will soon be the leaders caring for our planet. And what better place to do that than right here at the zoo, where our vision is to create a world where all animals and people thrive together. I'd like to leave you with Sandy's favorite quote. It's a famous quote by an African naturalist, Baba Diom. In the end, we will conserve only what we love. We will love only what we understand, and we will understand only what we are taught. Remember, you matter. Thank you.
I don't have anything nearly so profound. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lee Pappert. I am the new Chief Development Officer here at the Central Florida Zoo. I am from Dallas, Texas. This is brand new to me, and I am so grateful to Richard for inviting me to be a part of this team. He asked me last January if I could encourage individuals, corporations, I guess I need this too, don't I? How does that work? I'll figure it out. Individuals, corporations, and foundations to contribute funds to the zoo. I encourage them. I cajole. I reach out. I talk. I take all of these great stories that I hear and I paint a picture for people to contribute to the hard work that we're trying to do here at the zoo. I don't get to work with the animals all the time, all the cool stuff, but I do get to meet with interesting, passionate people who care about the zoo and care about the animals, and that is a joy. Of course, I can't do that by myself. Let's see if I can do this right. Oh, wrong way. I can't do that by myself. I have a good team behind me. Did I mention I'm from Dallas? Richard's from Fort Worth. Cowboy fans. You know.
We're sorry.
Please don't let that, hurt you or teach you to not pull your pocketbooks out. But anyway, we have a terrific team that goes out all the time to work with these individuals and corporations and foundations to contribute to the zoo. And that's an honor and a joy. You've already heard from a handful of people speaking tonight, and you've heard some of the successful stories that we've had for the year. The train coming back and the folks who are supporting the train. The recovery efforts from the zoo. Oops, let's go the other way. The recovery efforts from Hurricane Ian. And many of the folks that are here tonight and hundreds more contributed to our campaign to raise money to expand our Amur leopard habitat. At some point, they're going to be in the same mood at the same time, and we're going to need an expansion to be taking place. So we are very pleased to say that we raised over $350,000 to build that expansion, thanks to many of you in the room and many, many more, but also that the fact that that construction is due to begin relatively soon, that we don't have an exact date, but it is on the books and it's coming soon. And there'll be a lot more information coming about that. We're excited about that. Many of you guys come on a regular basis to the special events that we do. There's all sorts of ways to get involved with the zoo, and you can support them by supporting a special event like Brews Around the Zoo, the Zoo Boo Bash, which you've heard about, the Hippity Hop Adventure, ooh, Easter Bunny, cool. The Asian Lantern Festival, which was a fantastic hit this last year with over 93,000 people coming. And of course, the Indigo Bluegrass Barbecue that took place this year as well. So we have wonderful special events throughout the year, some for adults, some for the kids, but all sorts of ways of getting involved in the community with the zoo. Great ways to say thanks to sponsors, to acknowledge families and friends, employees, and so on. It's a terrific way to support the zoo, and we've got lots more exciting events coming later this year as well, and year round. Whoops, not too fast. We did something new this year. We welcomed Dr. Lori Marker, who is the the founder and executive director of the Cheetah Conservation Fund, and she spent the day here with us. She spent a day working with the animal keepers and the animal team, talking about all sorts of things that I don't understand, and they learned a lot, is what I was told, because it was foreign to me, but I loved the fact that everybody on the animal team was ecstatic and they learned something. And we did too, because at the evening we hosted a little reception. We had about 50, 60 people come and enjoy it, and then Dr. Marker talked about her craft and her passion, and that is the cheetah. She is the foremost expert in conservation and protecting the cheetah, and it was an honor and a pleasure to have her here. And it's the type of thing that we want to do on a more regular basis, and we hope to do more events like that with noted conservation leaders to talk about animals. And it was something new, it was exciting, it was fun, and we all benefited, and there are opportunities to get involved with that kind of program as well. Of course, all of that excitement, really when you add it up, you guys helped us to raise just under $2 million for the year. That's phenomenal. From individuals, corporations, foundations, and the thing that excites me most is that there are so many more opportunities, and that's what I'm looking forward to do over the next however long I'm here, which is going to be a long time. So I have to tell you, though, I'd be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to mention a couple of those opportunities. Coming up on October 6th is the For the Animals Golf Tournament at the club, the club at Venetian Bay in New Smyrna Beach. We will be playing golf. Breakfast, 18 holes of championship golf, lunch, raffles, prizes, fun. Lots of opportunity to get involved. Foursomes and sponsorships are available. I am happy to take your orders tonight if you'd like, or you can just reach out at any time. Or please just acknowledge the fact that you may not be interested in golf, but you know somebody who is. So it's a great opportunity to network, to have a little fun, and to kick off your weekend right. And we're very excited to go there to the 4th Asian Lantern Festival into the wild. Ticket sales and sponsorships will be available very quickly. It is an absolutely incredible event at the zoo, middle of November through the middle of January. It's a great opportunity for family, for friends, for fun. Come see the lanterns. They're absolutely stunning. If you haven't seen them before, I hear there might even be some dinosaur-themed lanterns this year. If anybody has young kids or grandkids that might be interested in that, I think that would be pretty cool. And I would say, again, tickets and sponsorships are available, and I'd be happy to help with that. I just have one thing to ask you guys. This is important to me. Please, 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 if you ever see that guy, don't be afraid of him. Don't be afraid of that goofy looking guy right there looking all silly. I'm going to ask for things. I'm going to mention things. I'm going to put ideas in people's heads. But please know, it's not with greed. It is with love. It's for the animals. Yeah, follow that.
So we have what's called an institutional collection plan. So those are the animals that we plan to house here. Yes, we do make accommodations when we get the call that there are baby spider monkeys that need homes, but we do our homework to figure out what animals will work in our institutions or recommended by AZA and can fit into our property. So these are some of the animals that we already covered earlier tonight, and these are our rescues. These were a surprise after Hurricane Ian. We did not anticipate having baby alligators, but we did have 3. So two of them were sent to the Bronx Zoo. They're ambassador animals at the moment, and one is at the St. Augustine Alligator Farm. Because we don't have that much room for alligators here. We have 2, and that's plenty. We do have one of our animals that is yet to come out of quarantine. He'll be in there for about another 4 to 5 weeks, but he'll be housed in the herpetarium, and this is a Baja blue lizard. And he fits that niche of sort of a ground lizard. We don't really have that niche represented in the herpetarium collection. He's about 8 or 9 inches right now. And then, of course, the blue duiker. It's been my dream to get antelope here at the zoo and in our collection. And since we are a smaller facility and the duikers are smaller, it was a perfect match. We do have new ambassador animals. Guinea pigs are a big hit for all of the people that attend our program. So we have 2 brand new ones. And of course, the squirrel monkeys. So not only does that enhance the guest experience, seeing more monkeys in a habitat, but having that dynamic between the squirrel monkeys and the spider monkeys benefits them both. We do have the Henkel's leaf-tailed geckos. That was something we brought into the collection this year. We haven't bred lizards in a very long time, so we're very hopeful that they'll pull through for us. And then we can start to bring birds back into the collection. The avian influenza throughout the country prevented us from bringing birds in due to the fact we didn't want to bring that disease into our collection. So on the front aviary, we have 2 male Nicobar pigeons. They're stunning if you look at them and the sun hits them just right. We also have a Palawan peacock pheasant that's in our quarantine right now. He's an SSP recommended bird to come into our facility, and we also have another female that will come, and they should both be exhibited in the front entrance aviary once they clear quarantine. And we also have a redfoot tortoise that we took into our collection. He's in the aviary across from the barnyard. Again, this is another attempt for us to have a dynamic exhibit where we have multiple species on the ground, reptiles mixed with birds, things like that. And in that exhibit, we also have violet taracos. Again, another SSP recommendation. So we have a female that's on exhibit right now, and we will introduce a male to her in a couple of weeks. We did get approval to breed some of our dart frogs. So you can see some of the parents in the bug zoo over out here in the hallway area. But we do have some froglets and some small frogs in the back of the herpetarium right now, losing their tails and growing out their legs. Thank you.
All right, so now let's talk about the future. So a lot of you who were here last year know we started a strategic planning process, both strategic plan, a master plan of the facility, and a business plan last June. We were expecting that to be finished somewhere around the first of the year. We weren't expecting everything that hit us with Hurricane Ian, so we had to put that process on hold during the fall. So we're just now starting to wrap that process up. We're almost done with it. But I just wanted to give you all a little bit of a preview and a little bit of information about that process. So, we brought our team together. We've had all kinds of listening sessions with our board, with our team, and also external stakeholders. And I know this is a lot of words and you don't need to read all of it, but just to give you an idea, we did a lot of interviewing of people in the community, other stakeholders and residents, trying to get an idea both of what they think about the zoo now and what it is, and what they'd like to see it become. And we took all that information and assimilated it, so as we started to plan what the zoo would be in the future, we'd be able to be guided by what people actually want, not necessarily what we're just thinking. It's been a very intense process that's taken many months and a whole lot of meetings and a whole lot of time. One of the first things we did as we moved through the process was we adopted a new mission and vision, which Dawn has already shared in her report, so I don't even have to read them for you. But these are, the mission is basically our why of why we exist now, and the vision is where we want to go, what we want to see in the future, what we're working towards. So this is a very rough idea of what the zoo will look like in the future. I know that looks tiny, and there's a reason for that. One, it's really hard to get on one slide, and two, we don't want to show too much until we're ready to roll it out publicly completely. But what you'll see basically is what used to be our current parking lot is right in this section here. And what is our overflow parking lot is this back here. So basically, everything that you see at the zoo now, we're also going to use, as you walk up and where the picnic tables are, everything there, that all will become actual exhibits and other things. We'll have, an actual, when you come and arrive, a sense of arrival, an arrival building that includes everything from, a gift shop that you exit through, which is a novel idea for us, to, all of the ticketing, all the things you might need to get, the wheelchairs and anything like that up there. Also some event space, and then upstairs would have some more administrative offices because we have completely outgrown all of our offices. So we are busting at the seams in that end. But everything from a new animal hospital, a lot of new exhibits, themed areas. So each of the different areas of the zoo would be themed for a different thing. And so it's not going to be geographic. Traditionally, zoos have gone really geographic. What we're learning is we can make it more compelling and more flexible if we go with themes. So, for example, one of the first ones we may do is what would be called the treetop trail, and that would be animals that live in the trees. And so that would be an elevated platform that you'd go and be higher up in that. But there's a lot of flexibility of what those animals can be if we can take them from any of the continents. So that's a little bit of kind of the thinking we have as we're looking at the collection. This process, we've gone through, we really exhibited we looked at all of our exhibits, we looked at all of our buildings, all of our processes, and said, okay, what can we do in the future to create more opportunities to be more engaging, to tell better stories, and to give the community really a greater experience and something they'll stay longer and want to be here for and come back more. So the campus is going to change a lot over the course of years, but this is a process that takes a lot of time. Like I show you this, and I don't want you to think in 5 years this is what we're going to be. This is a very long, slow process, one that starts with us working on capacity building. So whether it comes to our infrastructure for fundraising, whether it comes to capacity on staff to be able to handle and manage new animals and new areas, those are all things that have to happen at a measured pace. So you won't see a whole lot of building over the next few years. What you'll see is more us working on creating more partnerships with other organizations, creating more partnerships with schools and different people in the community, really trying to forge some partnerships with corporations, trying to grow the zoo's reach and our impact on the community, and also to really develop the data we need to be able to really sell we're going to have to fundraise for this, and it's going to be significant numbers, and we need to be able to have the data so that fundraisers feel comfortable that this money is going to be well spent. So one of the things we're doing right now is we're looking at doing an economic impact study to really show what the zoo's impact is across this part of Central Florida. Having that data will give us a lot to be able to talk to potential donors about, and then really talking to them about some of the things you've seen today. I mean, we are the only major cultural attraction in Seminole County. We see over 50,000 people a year in our education programs. There aren't very many informal education programs for kids or adults in Central Florida. So there are things we do that really make us an important asset, and being able to grow those things and really show potential donors the importance of those things, that's where we have to get. So I am excited about what this will look like, and I want to give you at least a little bit of a preview. So this is what they've envisioned the front entrance might look like, using really old Florida architecture to really celebrate the place that we are. We're very fortunate that we sit on land that's beautiful. I mean, you look at zoos across the country, you go to them, and in most major cities, there's a lot of concrete, and they pay fortunes to try to create somewhat of a natural feel. We're so fortunate we just have it. It's one of the greatest things about this property. So, trying to celebrate that in the way we reimagine the zoo. But you'll see the circle up there and some buses. So we would have a dedicated bus drop off and an area where we could orientate the kids for field trips, things like that. Right now, all of that comes through our front gate. Everything comes through our front gate. So we're not really set up for some of those kinds of things well. And so we can really change our processes in the future so it makes things easier both for those education groups and for our guests every day. But this is just another idea of what that will look like. But we're really excited about where this is going. Over the course of the next several months, we'll get to the point that we're going to be able to roll out more of this plan in a lot more detail to the community. Y'all are the first to see any of these renderings, but outside of the board and the staff. So we're really excited to share this with y'all over the coming months and to start talking about what we can be, and hope that y'all will want to support that too. When we start talking about today and immediate, Lee talked about this a little bit, but we're anticipating a groundbreaking on the expansion of our leopard exhibit sometime in the next 4 to 5 weeks. We're just looking for a date that we can put on the calendar that'll work and giving people enough advance notice. But we now have found a contractor. That was really the hardest thing, is finding a company to do the construction. It's really been, as we went through Hurricane Ian and all the things we needed to get repaired from that, we're still working on some of those repairs. Getting contractors in has been hard because they are so busy. They are so backlogged with projects. And when we have one-off projects like this, and it's not something consistent, they're going to get several more in a row, we're not a priority for them. So it's been a struggle to get contractors for some of those things. And so it's taken longer than we hoped. But we are excited to get this thing done. We're excited about, hopefully, those two leopards actually getting on the same page soon. It's been fascinating to watch, but I think we're all ready for them to get it together. But I just have to say, too, thank you so much for everyone in this room that's been part of this campaign and us being able to make this a reality. What this will do is, once they actually do have cubs, we'll be able to put them out on exhibit, and we can have the family out there together. It's large enough. It gives them lots of room to roam, levels to be up and down on, and the stimulation they need. So we're really excited about that. For those of you who don't know, there are only about 200 of these leopards left in the world. And in the wild, there's only about 70, and they are all around the Russia-China border. So all it would take is one disease outbreak in that area, and you could see the entire wild population disappear. And that's why we have these kinds of programs, is to sustain a genetically diverse population in captivity, so that if at some point those animals start disappearing in the wild, there's the possibility of reintroducing some of them into the wild and making sure that species survives. So for us to be able to actually get them on the same page and breed and have cubs, those cubs are very precious and very important, and we'd be so proud if we're able to make that happen. So that's all the updates I have for you. I did want to recognize, before we went to Q&A, a few people in the audience. We do have a couple of elected officials here. We have Abby Sanchez from the Seminole County School District. We have Mayor Shazes from DeBerry. Do we have any other elected officials I've missed? Okay, so now is your time. We've got the team here. Any questions any of y'all would like to ask? All right, well, I know we went a little over. I appreciate y'all staying through the whole thing, but thank you all so much for taking the time to be here. And like I said, so many of you would contribute, whether it's your time, your talents, your money, whatever it is to this zoo, and we couldn't do what we do without you. And for the staff, it's such a nice thing for us when we look out and see an audience of people who are engaged and care about what we do. It's hard sometimes. I mean, I won't lie. Hurricane comes and it's hard. Every day, the things we've got to deal with, but we've got to deal with them because we love those animals and we want to make sure they're okay. Couldn't be more proud of this team and the way they rise to every occasion and every challenge. I'm proud of the way we're growing, and I really appreciate you guys all being part of that growth, and I hope y'all will continue to do that. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And if there's anything you want to ask any of us individually, feel free to come up, talk to us as you're leaving. And if not, our information is on the website. Even if you just reach out to the information at email address, it'll get to us, whoever it needs to get to. So if you have questions after you leave, you think of other things, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.